I first wanted to be an entrepreneur because I wanted autonomy over my career. And so, and through my career, I had an opportunity to work for a tech company and followed those two entrepreneurs on their path. And I had a chance to see sort of what the insides and outs were of a business were, and then had the opportunity with some partners to start a land development and construction business. And through that, learning exactly what was going on, I really wanted to get back to technology because that was really where I found my passion was and where leading career paths could be. Also, back to the autonomy around being an entrepreneur is I really found that I wanted to own my own career, and the reason I wanted to own my own career because I wanted to have a family, but I wanted to have both. We're a training and simulation company in aerospace and defense, and for the last 6 years, we're in business 12 years, but for the last 6 years we've delivered over 10 million in training platforms to the Royal Canadian Navy. What sets us apart is we're small, but we are also more diverse than a lot of the other technology companies out there. We are at a 50-50 with the demographics of female and male, and we have a lot of underrepresented groups working at RaceRocks. This helps us to give a different perspective to a lot of the projects that we build. It also we are also more collaborative because we want to hear all those other voices at the table. That ends up helping us create a better product that is more focused on the individuals we're training. So we do distributed learning, which is, so we do technology-enabled learning. Okay. So we build courseware from traditional courseware you would see sort of like a PowerPoint all the way to a fully immersed simulator. So we have a simulator now that we just created through Innovation Solutions Canada. It's at a minimal viable product where you have a VR headset on and you're actually in a full motion simulator. It takes up a smaller footprint than a normal simulator. You can plug it into a normal wall, and also there's no lag time because the actuators on the simulator are from magnetic force feedback. And what we're finding with this is that it's fantastic training in an area where a lot of people don't know this, but it makes the training more equitable. And what it means is if you're training and it's also an environment that is not unpredictable, we'll just use a flight simulator for one, we can have wind, we can have rain, we can have you fly at night. And so when you're actually being measured on your performance, it's the same benchmark that the next person gets into that simulator and is measured against also. So really what we're finding is simulation creates equitable training. So working in a technology business, loving technology, and then going to land development and then to storage, we met my business partner at the time. He was actually just coming out of film, and his experience was all in visual effects. And we were, a defense company came to us and said, if you were to build the fidelity into our training modules that was comparable to a trainee's Xbox at home, we feel that there might be more immersion, there might be a better experience. And so we got together and decided, could we build a modeling company? And with Scott's experience and then our business side of it, we decided to give it a try. So we actually hired a bunch of modelers. They came in and we were able to increase the fidelity of the training for the defense industry. But what we saw at that time was we were held to the mercy of all the larger defense primes contracts. And the first thing to go if a contract gets cut is the contractors. And so what we decided to do was actually take that training one step further and build it from start to finish. So we hired then a team of learning designers, we had developers, we had artists, we had product managers and project managers, so we could deliver the entire coursework from start to finish. And what we also wanted to do, because what we saw was happening was the end client was actually just getting the package of what was being developed. We really wanted the client's voice to be throughout the entire courseware. So what we did was very different, was we collaborated with the client from the day one. They became our subject matter experts. We didn't hire subject matter experts. The training was for them. We wanted to build the training to have the learning outcomes that they needed to achieve their work. I would say that what was my real aha moment around this was that I didn't see anything as a barrier, actually, when I first started out in business. I saw it as, this is what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. And what I did was I took a look around and see what was happening in the business world that I was in. And what was claimed as success was put your head down, work hard, hit that goal at any cost. And it was really good, and it was really easy to measure then your success, right? You had milestones there that were fairly concrete, that had metrics. So you knew if you were doing a good job, and you knew if you weren't. That to me didn't seem like a barrier. I just thought, put my head down, work hard, and hit those goals, and I would then progress in my career. And I did. But one thing I didn't realize is that I was just fitting into the normal mold. I wasn't creating a space for anyone behind me that was female in a male-dominated business world, let alone any underrepresented group. So when I got to a place when I hit the successful milestones, I no longer felt great. I looked around at my coworkers, and they weren't working as hard, yet they were still getting that same success as I was. And then I looked back around at also people that were like me, that were female potentially in underrepresented groups, and they were working just as hard as I was. And again, we were having that same success as our counterparts that weren't working as hard. So I decided that instead of being a chameleon and moving through a system, I wanted to change that system. And what I thought was going to be potentially, something that was, I don't want to say easy, but I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it was. But once I voiced what I wanted to do, I got a lot of negative feedback. I wanted to take a strategic plan, and I wanted to somehow incorporate people into it. I wanted to measure success not just by profits but by people. And I realized what I'd done in my beginning of my career didn't help me at all in this area. I also realized that measuring success around people is not easy, and so a lot of times, being someone that is very controlling, I didn't realize if I was doing a good job or a bad job, and that made sometimes it hard to carry on and move forward. But I kept coming back to that place where I knew that to hit any goal at any cost was not something that I wanted to see for the rest of the people that work in this industry, and I wanted to see success measured differently. And what I learned is, if I support my team to hitting their goals, I hit my goals. And to me, that's what success looks like. As a small to medium-sized business, to win a large contract that is up close to competing with some of the larger companies in the defense and technology industry, really what I think our success from that is our people. And really what that comes back to is our culture. We are in tech, which has a high turnover rate, and we retain employees much beyond what the normal turnover rate is. We have people surveys that we put out, and our team is telling us that they're happy. And so we actually believe our success is not because we are the typical business out there, it's because we actually value our people, because we actually are more diverse. I don't even know how to say that without saying exactly why we're more diverse, but our leadership team now is 50% women and it's 50% male. And I believe what's happening there is it's helping people to see that in RaceRocks you can have a career path. It doesn't matter who you are. If you work hard, you enjoy your work, and you support a healthy culture for everyone there, you can succeed. And so I believe our success really is from our diversity, our inclusion, and our equity. So for me, equity, providing that culture where people feel safe, supported, and heard was important, but really being transparent also was super important. So they knew that honesty is one of our values, and wasn't just one thing that we were saying, we're actually walking that. We wanted to ensure that we weren't going to do everything right the first time, but we were going to be really honest with what we were doing, so they understood what we were doing and why we were doing it. Being an Indigenous business and knowing that there's very small Indigenous representation in STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, what we want to do is we want to attract more underrepresented groups to STEAM. And so what we've done is we've partnered up with the First Nation Technology Council, and we've signed a letter saying that we will provide scholarships for some of the students, and we'll also provide internships, and if that works out, we'd also provide careers. So for us, the first time I think we've actually took a step back and said, instead of where are we going, it's more or less how today are we going to get there tomorrow, where we've always just kind of had that focus on, we're hitting that goal, but instead with this time we actually paused and stepped back and said, where do we want to go and how are we going to get there and who do we need to work with to get there? And that's the first time academia has really come into the picture for us. And for me, it's really around people seeing that STEAM is a career path, that not only can you potentially one day have your own entrepreneurial business out of it, but you also can have autonomy over your job and also your own life. I'm hoping that's what I can model is I was successfully able to have a business and also have 2 kids. Wanting to own and start a people first company, I didn't actually know where to start from, and I didn't know what success looked like. I reached out into the industry to find some other people leaders out there that had started this path long before I had. I had good conversations with them. It was something that they told me to do in small chunks. Nothing was going to happen big overnight. It was the same time I was actually considering having the company become an Indigenous business. When I wanted to do a people first company for someone that had worked in the business world that had just played by the rules, and not made any change, I had no idea where to start. So as I was going back to find my Indigenous roots to hopefully give me some meaning just in life, I also then at that same time founded the PAR program, which is the Progressive Aboriginal Relations Program, and from it, I took a look at it and it seemed overwhelming. I actually hired a third party to come into the business and tell me exactly what was going on in the business, so I had a good place to start from. They came in and did a gap analysis. Things were a lot worse than I thought they were. From that, what I learned was I had to unlearn a lot of things that I thought were the way things were, along with learning. And that's when I dove myself into the Indigenous history and cultures and their worldviews to see if there was something else there that I could connect to. And a lot of it was around safe, supported, and voices heard. And that gave me a pathway, so at least I would know I was going in a direction of any kind to help bring people to the core of business, because they really are the core of business. What I really learned off the bat was a lot of people talk, but they don't walk the walk that they talk. And so for me, what I learned was to be patient, to really step back and observe, not to try to be in the center of the action, to really see who was saying what they were saying and really was doing those same things. Wanted relationships with partners that didn't have to share our values, but they respected our values. Our values are honesty, collaboration, creativity, and learning. And something that helped me actually get through to where I am now as a leader too is to stay true to those values. So for me, really, it was more about stepping back, seeing who was doing what they were doing, and then really having an honest look. Pausing, which is something I've learned to do also in my new leadership style, is not just keep going. Sometimes stop, pause, and see if exactly you are on the same path that you will still want to be on. So really then, once we found those partnerships, that we actually found that we had shared values of some kind, we then together worked, and we did small work packages to start, just so that we can ensure that they liked us and we liked them, because it's just as important as we like them as they like us. And so that's how we really built it, and that's how I really do all of my business, is really around relationships. And that relationship means that it has to be trust, and trust takes time. So small packages to start. If it works for both of us, to continue on, and we've got some really great partnerships through that, and they've really helped us to grow the company. Starting your own business. I would definitely say always start your own business off the side of your desk. You learn a lot from working in any sort of business right now. So any experience you're getting in a business or whatever you're doing, continue to that. Find a passion and do it off the side of your desk, so that you'll know when you're ready to jump from the day-to-day stuff that you're doing to actually your passion and your purpose. You'll also have more experience, which is always helpful. Also, ask questions. Be curious, and make sure that you have clearly articulated what you want to do and why. And then also realize the values you have that you will not sway from no matter what happens. A lot of times opportunity will come with money. Money is great, but money won't keep you getting out of bed in the morning with passion. So ensure all of those things are in alignment before you go. Pause, reflect, ensure that you, again, can clearly communicate where you're going. The only way people can jump on board and get along with you is if they fully understand the why of what you're doing. And don't be afraid to take chances.